uh, he went and he was on the boat when he called Peter, or when he called James and John to follow him. But there's some belief that Zebedee may have died sometime after this, before Jesus was crucified, because by the end you find that James and John's mother are traveling with them, ministering to Jesus. She's, I believe her name was Salome, and in one place it says the mother of Zebedee's children. And the way it's worded, the mother of Zebedee's children, theologians believe that's telling you that that's a hint that Zebedee has died, because of the way they announced her as the mother of Zebedee's children. Anyway, James, we know how he died from the Bible, because the Bible says he was killed with a sword. Normally in Jewish custom, if you say they were killed with a sword, it means they were beheaded. But we can't be for sure, but that's normally what it was. It could have been they ran him through with the sword, but we see that in, I believe it's Acts chapter 12, it talks about James being killed. And John, his brother, that's John that wrote the book of John, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, the book of Revelation, and we know that according to tradition, John was the only one that wasn't martyred, but they boiled him in oil, and it didn't kill him. And you can imagine how, unless God intervened, how scarred he must have been from the experience that he went through. But anyway, that's John. And he surnamed them Boanerges, which was a Hebrew way of saying the sons of thunder. The sons of thunder. And we don't know why he called them the sons of thunder. We know why he called Peter the rock, right? But why did he call them the sons of thunder? And some believe it's because that on one occasion it was James and John who said, "Shall we call fire down from heaven and destroy them?" You know, that they were these boisterous, you know, let's go get them type guys. I don't know. The Bible doesn't really say. And then Andrew, which was Simon Peter's brother. Andrew, they say, was crucified in an X shape. That's why they call that X shape St. Andrew's cross. And then you have Philip, and the Bible talks about Philip quite a bit. This is not the Philip that we read about in Acts. It was one of the deacons. This was an apostle named Philip, and he was one of the early followers. We know that he also was from Bethsaida in the area around Capernaum and grew up around Andrew and Peter and James and John. They were all from that same area. I've got it written here somewhere. Let me see if I can find out what they said about happened to Peter, or rather what happened to Philip. Yeah, they say he was beheaded in Hierapolis, which we read about in our study on Colossians. Then there was Bartholomew, who in other places is called Nathaniel, and he was from, the Bible says, from Cana, where, you know, the marriage in Cana, that was the town that Bartholomew was from. Bartholomew was the one that really stands out to me. They say he was skinned alive and crucified because of Christ. Then we know there was Matthew, who also was called Levi, who was also a publican, a tax collector. Then there was Thomas. I was telling Babs, I found this interesting. I'd forgot about this, but in some places Thomas is called Didymus. Didymus means twin. So Doubting Thomas was a twin. It doesn't mention anything about his brother, but or his sister. It may have been a sister, for that matter. But it just tells us that Thomas was a twin. They say also that Thomas was beheaded for the gospel's sake. That's what tradition says. Then you have James the Less, the son of Alphaeus. We also know that his mother's name was Mary, because the Bible tells us that in another place. Then you have Thaddeus. Well, let me say this about James the Less. They say he was stoned to death in Jerusalem. Thaddeus, who is also called Lebbaeus, some say that was his surname. Lebbaeus was his surname, so his name would have been Thaddeus Lebbaeus. And in some places he's actually called Jude. And you can imagine probably he changed his name to distinguish himself from the other Judas. I would. You know, I don't want anybody calling me that name. It's like having the name Adolf. After a while, you probably want to change your name. They say that in ancient Middle Ages times, and you'll see they'll paint pictures of him and of Thaddeus, and he also always, there's an axe present, and they say the reason why the axe is present is that's the manner in which he was killed. They killed him with an axe. Then there's Simon. It says Simon the Canaanite, also called Simon Zelotes, or Simon the Zealot. Now the reason why I want to bring that up, why does it call him Simon the Canaanite? Well, that area was called Canaan, right? And a zealot was what it sounds like, someone who was zealous for something. Well, these were, it would seem like he had been a part of this nationalistic movement. You know, I'm Simon the Canaanite. I'm not any kind of Roman follower. I'm Simon the Canaanite, right? I'm from this area. He was a MAGA man. He was a Maca man. Make Canaan great again. You know, he was just all about he had been involved in that zealot movement to free Canaan. You know, and make them an independent state. But he had left all of that to follow Christ. Some say, tradition says that he was crucified. And finally there was Judas Iscariot that betrayed him. Iscariot means that he was from the town of Kerioth, and which was in the southern part. A lot of these guys, you'll notice, were from Galilee. Judas was not. Judas was from a town south of Jerusalem called Kerioth. And so it says, after he'd appointed these men, they left the mountain, went into a house. It doesn't say what house, but there's some belief that he probably went back to Capernaum and went back into Simon Peter's house.